All right, guys, it is almost 5 o'clock on Thursday evening, and Suncoast Transmissions has finally got me all back on the road and ready to go. Now, it took a little longer than planned. We did have a couple complications. On this truck, and I didn't mention it on the video on the way here, I have a gear vendor's overdrive underdrive unit. Now, I didn't install it on the truck. It was on the truck when I bought it. And I told them about that beforehand. They said, no, that won't be a problem. We can put that onto the back end of the new transmission, just like it is on your existing transmission. Well, it turns out the problems I was having with the truck weren't all in the transmission. Some of it was in the gear vendors as well. So at this point, they were not equipped to rebuild the gear vendors without having to special order parts and take a couple weeks. So what we ended up doing was we just removed the gear vendors unit. I left all the wiring and everything in place so I can always put it back on. But then we had to get a custom drive shaft for it. There wasn't one available anywhere in town, so we had to source one actually from a salvage yard up in Alabama. And that came in today, and they got it all put in. So that's what took us a little bit longer to get it done. Otherwise, they would have probably had me out of here yesterday, but that drive shaft didn't come in until today. So I won't be able to use my overdrive, or I'm sorry, I won't be able to use my double overdrive on the way home, but the regular overdrive on the truck still works fine, and that's all we use to get down here. Although I was looking forward to being able to get into the double overdrive on the way home and set the cruise control and get some pretty good fuel economy, but that's not gonna happen. But we still got a perfectly good running truck, and now it's time to head back to North Carolina. All right, guys, right off the bat, I can feel that the shifts are so much firmer. They're not jerky or harsh, but you can definitely feel that there's a firmness there that wasn't there before. Keep in mind, truck's got just shy of 160,000 miles on it. So even without losing the reverse, there was a certain amount of wear on that transmission anyways. And I know that the last few miles, I said the last few, when I bought the truck, it had 95,000 miles on it in 2018. So that last 60,000 miles were hard miles because I know how I treated it and how heavy I towed with it. Looks like I'm gonna need to stop and get fuel sometime soon. All right, guys, and before heading out of Fort Walton Beach, I happened to find a Murphy Express here where the diesel fuel is only $5.09. It's a lot better than some of the prices on the highway. It's not quite as cheap as Georgia, but I can't make it to Georgia what I've got, so I've got no choice but to buy something somewhere. So this is where it's gonna be. I'm gonna have to fill up here. Maybe as we're going through Georgia, get closer to home, I'll top it off again. That would have to pay those prices in North Carolina once I get there. All right, guys, we are completely fueled up. Now I'm just gonna run inside and grab some coffee, and then we're gonna get on the road and go. But guess what? No more disposable cups because Suncoast Converters got me a cool cup. Now it's not a Yeti, it's called a Bison cooler. It's very similar to the Yeti concept, but I actually like it better. It's a little bit bigger, and the lid actually screws on. Can't tell you how many times I've knocked my Yeti over and spilled my coffee everywhere. That shouldn't happen anymore. All right, guys, so I have a full tank of diesel fuel and a full cup of coffee. So it is time to hit the road. I'm really hoping that this trip will be relatively uneventful, and this will be a very short video. thinking maybe somebody tried to take a turn too fast. Somebody's having a bad day. It sucks. Alright guys, no recording for a minute. This is actually one of my favorite songs, so I gotta sing along with it.
WLEZ Pensacola.
good. Do what you gotta do.
All right, guys, I told you I was gonna do it on the way down there. Got to get the training fixed first, but I cannot run around with a dirty, nasty truck. It just had to be done. You know, we're running through some rain and some weather, and I know it's gonna get dirty again, but it's not gonna get moldy again on the way home. So, you know, and I figured right now it's about midnight. We're in Atlanta. I've kept the door closed for the last 6 hours, made really good time, and I figured at midnight on rainy weather, the place wouldn't be busy, and I was right. You see, guys, I pulled right in, and these guys were super, super fast. I definitely got to give them some props. By the time I went inside, I paid, I used the restroom, came back out, they were pretty much done. All right, guys, so Now that we're in Atlanta, we've put a little over 300 miles on the truck today, and I got to tell you, I'm absolutely loving it. One, I'm glad to have my engine braking back. Now when I let off the throttle, the truck starts to decel like it's supposed to. Also, cruise control. That was probably the hardest part about driving to Florida, was not being able to use that cruise control, because I use my cruise all the time. And I kept creeping up to 75, 80 mile an hour, then slowing it back down or whatever. I really like to use my cruise control whenever I can. It makes the drive so much more enjoyable, so much more relaxing. I don't have to worry about speeding or maintaining speed, just done. Now, as far as the transmission goes, I have played with it at part throttle, half throttle, full throttle, and it is spot on everywhere I've done it. Now, the shifts are definitely firm and they're hard to keep in mind. This is not a luxury transmission build. This is a performance build, so you definitely feel the shifts. The only time it's a little inconvenient is if you give it that kind of 1/3 to half throttle as you accelerate a little bit, and then you kind of let out of it just as it shifts, it'll hit pretty hard. But keep in mind, it's got to break in some still too, so it's probably going to get a little bit better. The Excursion did the same thing when it was done, and it still shifts hard, but it doesn't seem to be quite as hard after the many years. Keep in mind, when Ford built these trucks and they had the transmissions designed, they designed them for somewhat comfort as well as drivability. So when it shifts, it was kind of designed to cushion the blow a little bit, and that's been taken out. But again, I'm not driving a Cadillac. This is a work truck, and I plan on putting it to work. So anyway, it's never going to shift smooth like a Cadillac. It was never designed for that. This truck is meant to work. It's an F-350 dually diesel. It's going to work. I'm going to make it work. So I was more concerned about the performance aspect rather than the cushy drive aspect. So all in all, I'm really happy with it. And all in all, we're going to close this video. Guys, I've only got like an hour and a half left till I get home. It's dark. There's not a lot more to see. So unless anything exciting happens, we are done. I'm going to head to the Petro that's right next door. I'm going to get myself one more cup of coffee, and I'm going to finish that last little trek and climb in bed with my wife when I get home. Actually, she already told me that my grandson's in bed with her asleep. So I'm going to have to kick him out of bed, or I'm just going to sleep on the couch. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time I see you, you keep those engines running. Look at this, the freaking streaking beacon. It looked good when it was wet. Now you look at it. Look at all this. Look at what they missed. You think that's bad? Look, never even touched the toolbox or the tonneau cover. I even left them a really good tip.